Riley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, July 3rd to Saturday, July 9th. So last week we wrapped up June. We wrapped up June with Neptune going retrograde with the new moon in Cancer on the same day, on the 28th, which added a whole lot of waterworks, if I do say so myself. We are all hypersensitive, highly defensive, super protective. We got a lot of home and family changes and arrangements going on, which is definitely the Cancer theme. However, with Neptune going retrograde and of course the universe slapping those pretty little rose-colored glasses off of our face, we have had to swallow some very huge truth pills about where it is we've lied and deceived and deluded ourselves, of course, running from certain topics and themes that we thought would just, change themselves if we just paid no attention to them are coming back in full force. We are recognizing where it is that we have definitely romanticized certain aspects of our lives, where it is we buried our head in the sand for certain aspects of that as well. And now with Neptune retrograde, just hours before that new moon in Cancer, we had a flood of memories, emotions, and thoughts just absolutely overwhelm us. Now, this definitely manifested for people in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of family drama, especially with the mother role or the feminine divine energy in the home, in that family dynamic. Many of us have had power struggles, boundaries being tested. And of course, all of this is divinely scripted in order for us to build a brand new foundation where we can provide emotional safety and security for ourselves, where it is we can protect our home, protect all that we've created, and set the stage for a brand new reality that we're about to dive into. We are in the experimental phase from the solstice to the Lion's Gate portal, so we are pushing the boundaries of our comfort zone, and if we are not responsible and accountable enough to push those boundaries ourselves, the universe will be pushing them for us. We have to create a change. We have to step outside of the comfort zone in order to do that. And many of us are feeling very uncomfortable in brand new experimental territory. So we jumped into July, and July brought us a huge shift in energies. If you are listening to me Friday evening, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the chat, sharing your time and energy with me. And I want to just ask, how do you feel about the energy here today? So of course, July brings us a brand new month, a brand new energy, a brand new life lesson of 7, our relationship with ourselves, the relationship with other people and the world around us. And if you haven't listened to July's energy forecast, I'm going to recommend you do that. So as I sit here, and I am trying not to go into a full rant as of right now, but on this very first day of July, we do have a dramatic shift of energies. In this next coming week, we are going to have a couple of asteroids, Pallas and Vesta, both go retrograde, which we don't talk about too often, but basically they're adding to the dynamic of the rise of the dark feminine in order for us to fight for what is right, especially where the divine feminine has been suppressed, oppressed, and tortured over the years. Mother Earth, as you know, has decided to wake up and fight back. That's why we're going through this ascension process, so that she can remain alive and well and keep this Earth school open for us souls to come here and truly experience the polarized, dualistic nature of what it means to be a human. Why would we want to do that? Well, because living in unconditional love gets boring. That's why we come here. That's why we live messy. That's why human experience is a very novel experience for us as souls to have. This week, we also have Mars stepping out of his place of power the same day that Mercury is stepping out of his place of power to move into their next energies. So Mars has been in Aries energy, just fighting to break off, to start something new, to jump into a brand new chapter, to take the lead, to fight back. We had Mercury in his place of power in Gemini, really trying to sort things out, choose one path, one decision, one choice, one direction over the other. Mars moving into Taurus, we're going to get low and slow, but we are definitely going to get productive. We are definitely going to use our physical energy, even our anger, in order to get shit done. And Mercury moving into Cancer means that we are going to open the door and allow our intuition, allow our soul, our heart space to blend with the logical, practical mindset of our egoic mental plane and really come up with a plan, come up with a new understanding, come up with a new perspective. We are also building towards the first quarter moon in Libra on the 6th, which is going to provide us our very first action point, very first aha moment in this brand new moon cycle that, of course, we just began on the 28th of June with the new moon in Cancer. So I have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things I want to address. You guys are used to me going on tangents and rants and raves. I appreciate the love and support. I do have to address a couple of things before we jump into the rants and the Ascension symptoms for this week. First of all, welcome to July. If you haven't listened to the Astro Forecast, please do that. I set the stage for all the events that are to come this month and basically the ups and downs and everything in between, what our life lesson is and what we can expect by the time July comes to an end. This would be a great time to download July's energy calendar. Stay ahead of the game, stay ahead of the energy. Definitely keep in mind some of your own personal events and milestones that you may have planned for this month and where it is that they actually land in the energetic calendar. This would also be an amazing time to become a Moon Guide subscriber. If you're not already, we have a whole lunar cycle already open for us because of the new moon in Cancer taking place very late in June. We have some ups and downs, some positives, some negatives in order to sort out underneath this whole lunar process. And of course, the Moon Guides will be available to you as they are created. And if none of that interests you, that's a-okay. At least become an Energy Guide subscriber. It's a free membership. It's basically the energy dashboard. Whenever you wake up, whenever you're hella confused, you can log in, see everything going on right there. No questions asked, no need to look around. Everything is there for your taking. I also want to say thank you so much for the love, for the support that y'all showed me last week. I had so many people reach out and say that was one of the best Ascension forecasts that they heard, that I went on the best rant and rave, and it really surprises me in a way to do that because every single time that I talk about 3D topics, like topics and themes that are absolutely horrible that's going on the earth plane right now that we shouldn't even be giving any attention to, for some reason, those forecasts are the ones that do the best. That's when most people have, I guess, hearing what most people are thinking is a huge validator for most people. And if that's the case, then, I'm glad to be able to talk about it. Just strikes me as odd sometimes when, I'm so heated and I'm so angry about things and I bring things up that are going on the earth plane that just absolutely disgust me. And for all of us spiritualists that are actively working towards getting to 5D, it just boggles my mind that so many people get triggered, I guess, in the right kinds of ways at those particular topics and themes in those forecasts. So I wanted to thank you for all the love, for all the support that you've given me last week. I can definitely use it. My channel here on YouTube took a hit. I've had 3,000 less views over the last month, which is a pretty big hit. That algorithm definitely does not like truthers, does not like astrologers, does not like people trying to bring awareness and attention to some of the situations going on in the world right now, and of course trying to keep those vibes high. I also wanted to give a little bit of a shout out. Thank you so much for all the love about the private podcast. I still have no clue what it is that I want to do. I feel like, the love and support that y'all gave me definitely shows me that, branching off of YouTube and doing something a little bit more private and uncensored is definitely what people want, maybe what we need at this point. I just haven't kind of rattled out the details, but I wanted to thank you for that love as well. And also thank you for those of you that decided to show your love and support in a monetary fashion. I want to thank you so much. I do see on a lot of YouTube channels and other platforms that people have like a stream of names of their supporters or like call them out one by one. I don't know about y'all, but that kind of seems very uncomfortable for me. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate every single one of you that, gives in that way, but to call y'all out on it, I don't know. To me, that seems super strange, super weird. I'd be interested to hear your guys' comments, whether you think that that's a good thing, something I should be doing, or, just individually, blasting your names on the interweb. I don't know that that's such a good vibe, but, other people are down for it. I would be open-minded to it. I just want to extend my appreciation and my gratitude to every single one of you, regardless of the way that you show that love and support. So I want to jump into my rant and rave, the Ascension forecast for this week. As you know, July 1st here in Canada is Canada Day. Now, I work for myself. Every day kind of blends into the next. Holidays don't mean much to me. I work every single day, regardless of whether it's a holiday or not. So again, not a huge deal to me. But it kind of baffles me and boggles my mind. Like, what exactly are we celebrating? Because here's the thing. Canada is in an awful state of affairs, okay? In the present moment, like, I have no clue why any of us are even proud to be Canadians at this point, let alone celebrate it. When you go back over the history of Canada, I also don't see what we're celebrating. I think it was just last year we even canceled Canada Day due to the unearthing of the indigenous residential school grave sites. And I think at that time we were at like 215. And as it stands right now, we're like 10,000 and counting. Yet Canada's Day is back on this year. There's no talk of all of these unmarked graves at these residential schools anymore. As you know, the Indigenous people here in Canada has definitely taken a hit from day one. They've been done so much wrong. So again, I don't know why we're celebrating. Under the state of affairs right now with the inflation, with our Mr. Prime Minister being the number one WEF puppet going, I don't know why the hell we're celebrating that. I don't know why we're celebrating being the most tyrannical first world nation in the world right now. As far as I'm concerned, Canada should be the laughing stock, if not par with the US for, the politicians and the shit show going on in our countries right now. I don't know what the hell we're celebrating. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we're all supposed to have the attitude of gratitude. There's a lot of positives. I know that Canada, in comparison to some other countries in the world, we have quote unquote rights, I guess, depending on what rights you're talking about and who you're talking about. So don't get me wrong. Like, I know that there is always something to celebrate. I know there's always something to be grateful for. So don't come at me over that. But like, seriously, what the hell are we celebrating Canada Day for? I'm not so proud to be a Canadian at this particular point in time in the timeline, in the whole, shift of our world, our nation. I sure as hell do not support where Canada is going. I sure as hell don't support where it is that Canada's come from. Some of the major problems, inequality. I think that, the world has this tainted view that Canada is happy-go-lucky and we're so nice and this and that and whatever. We got some real problems here at home. And many Canadians are so nice that they want to bury their head in the sand and not understand what's actually happening to them in their own country. And I can't get on board with that, can't celebrate that either. Here's the thing though. What I know to be true, because I have a 5D mindset, I can see the bigger, broader picture here, is that Canada Day has to be celebrated this year. We can't use any excuses. We can't use, the residential school as an excuse not to celebrate. We can't use the vid not to celebrate. We can't use the fact that our prime minister just got implicated in the mass shootings that took place literally 10 kilometers away from my driveway. Okay. The mass shootings here in Nova Scotia, I knew from the very beginning was a false flag event. Now we're seeing those, those details be revealed from this awakening process, right? The power, the misuse of power, the corruption. And you know what? All of these are just stacking against the fall of our government. And if you don't understand that everything happening right now is a script, that it is a plan, that it is a movie, that we are essentially watching what needs to happen in order to wake up every single person to the corruption, to all of the power struggles that have been going on, the misuse and abuse of power in order for our government to fall, then I don't know what to tell you, because like I said, this is everything that you see going on in the world stage right now is fake. It is a script. It is playing out. That's why when certain things happen, we know that they are setting the stage for a marker. Again, hate to go into it, but Roe v. Wade was a huge marker in our timeline. Good, bad, or otherwise, doesn't matter, don't even care what you think about it, okay? Because that's not what this is about. It's a divisive tool that needed to be exposed, and mark my word, it will likely be reversed and repealed probably by the end of August. But this is setting the stage for the timeline that we need to be shifting into. So back to the timeline thing. I have a higher observation of why we have to celebrate Canada Day this year. And it's because we have July 4th coming, right? Where the US has its celebration. Now, what do we know to be true? Well, we know to be true that on the 5th, CERN, as I talked about last week, the Large Hadron Collider over in Geneva, is not only on, but it is amping up, and it's about to perform its experiment at the highest frequencies it's ever done before. And I've had a lot of people reach out and ask what CERN even is. And trust me, here's what I want to say. There are no stupid questions, okay? A lot of people refrain from asking like, hey, what is it that you're talking about? Because so many people seem to know what I'm talking about that they don't want to stand out. So I have a lot of private messages that are like, hey, loved your rant, loved your rave, have no clue what you're talking about. Like, what is CERN? So CERN is this big, huge machine that they've created in order to essentially prove whether the Big Bang Theory exists or the God particle exists. And they smash atoms together at a very high electrical frequency to basically create antimatter. And the antimatter deletes pure conscious energy that we create, or the collective consciousness, which in turn creates the Mandela effect. And what their objective is to basically create electrical frequencies so high that we can open portals. And for any of you that think that portals are merely just like a spiritual woo-woo science thing, I beg to differ. You need to wake up before it's too late. Our whole earth has been created out of a stargate. Stargates have been found, have been proven for the existence of Earth, okay? When you look at Star Wars, Star Trek, all of the propaganda movies out there and whatever, it's not just sci-fi. They want you to believe that it's sci-fi so that you don't think it's real. But and for those of you who watch Stranger Things, take a look at last season's episode. What was it? It was a huge machine underground using electrical frequencies in order to open a slit in the earth in order for what? Well, ugly demons, ugly monsters, if you will, to be able to come into Earth. And as far-fetched as that may sound to you, there is a whole scientific division, not only in Geneva, but all over the world. They have smaller sister, quote unquote, CERN plants, if you will, that are all doing these high-frequency experiments. And what we know to be true when we talk about ghosts and, paranormal activity is that all of our realms, there's multiple realms, all of the realms that we're currently experiencing are literally happening simultaneously all together on the same plane. The only reason why we can't see it is because our eyes, ears, and sensory systems only pick up a very small window of frequencies and light spectrum. And a lot of the paranormal activity that we see going on here in this earth, whether you want to call it ghosts or whatever the case may be, happen on ley lines, which are, electrical grids that wrap the earth around. and happen in spots where there's high electrical frequencies. That's why when we talk about like ghosts and paranormal activities, you get lights flickering, you get radio signals being interrupted, you get, TVs been interrupted, your phone batteries will die. There's all kinds of ways that they can communicate and manifest for us, but they need an electrical frequency in order to do it. So you have the CERN machine operating at such high electrical frequencies that like literally the earth has never experienced this before. You can take a look on the web and of course use your discernment. This is why intuition is absolutely necessary, because they manipulate every kind of information. But you can look back and see the skies, the weather that got created when CERN did its experimental, findings, I guess, in the past. Like there is a whole lot of hell that this machine can open up. The reason why I want to talk about this and why I started talking about this last week is because this is an energy harvesting event. Not only are they going to be pouring huge amounts of electricity in our earth, in our atmosphere, affecting the earth. We will see, I'll get into what we need to look for later with the Ascension symptoms, but not only are they pouring high amounts of electricity like in the atmosphere from Earth, but we also have high electrical magnetic frequencies coming in from the cosmos, from the sun, from the Sirius portal. We are aligned with the Sirius star system from the 3rd to the 7th. Again, another reason why CERN has decided to do this on the 5th. And like I said, Canada Day on the 1st, we have the US on the 4th, technically. On the 4th is when CERN will be operating here in the Western Hemisphere. It will be the 5th, right? Time difference, beautiful thing, in Switzerland. And you have this huge energy harvesting event once again, from people celebrating high emotions. You have fireworks going off, masking what is actually going on from their output and of electrical frequencies going in our atmosphere. It's the perfect cover for an absolute shitstorm. So, are they going to open a portal? Well, probably. It's not going to be their first one. It probably won't be their last one. Why we need to talk about this, why we have to have awareness about it, is so that we keep our vibration as high as possible, so that we concentrate on the, new earth that we want to manifest. Because when they go ahead and start smashing these atoms, these particles together, that is pure consciousness. That is pure thought consciousness. So if everybody's going into this week fearful about, the portals being opened and, what's going to come, what's going to happen to Earth because of it, and everybody's fearful and scared and all this kind of shit, you best believe that we are going to play exactly into their, wants, needs, and desires of doing this experiment. And we cannot let that happen. What I also want to bring to your attention, yes, this is an energy harvesting event, but I also want you to pay attention to the timing of it. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're actually 8 years ahead of time. We live in the future based off of the Gregorian calendar that, they've manipulated. You hear me rant and rave about it all the time. Ethiopia is actually on the real time, and they're like 8 years behind us. And the first time that, CERN did its thing was in 2012. Ethiopian time. And we all know what 2012 was supposed to be, the end of the world. And it definitely was here in the Western Hemisphere around our fake 2012 for different reasons. But 2012 in Ethiopia time was actually our 2020. And that is when the Great Awakening happened, when new levels of consciousness actually were taking place, when new levels of electromagnetic frequency were coming into the earth from the solar flares, from the plasma. It's all connected. And they think that they're smart by, giving us a false calendar, by, keeping a lot of this information hush hush, by keeping us deluded, thinking that all of this is woo-woo and sci-fi. It's not. And so what I want to say to you is that we have to be very careful of our thoughts, going into this weekend, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what you're celebrating. We have to be very mindful of our thoughts, because again, that is pure consciousness, and that is what they are trying to remove. And you can see this based off of the division of people. Now, many of us think that, what's going on in the world right now, this division is taking place because of the Jabberwocky, and it does play into that. I think that if you were to stop and think of all the people in your life that, whether it be yourself too, you got to be accountable to look inward. If you did take the Jabberwocky, you have to look at yourself and ask yourself if you've actually changed. And if you haven't taken the Jabberwocky, take a look at the people around you that have, because what I'm noticing and what I've been noticing that other people have been noticing is that those that have taken that Jabberwocky are in a state of anger, that there's been a change in personality, a change in behavior. I feel really bad for the spiritual people that were forced into taking it or got duped into taking it, because it is essentially a DNA blocker. We have starseed information and DNA in us. That's why we're here. And, we only have a couple of strands of DNA that are actually active. That's why we're going through the Ascension process, to receive all these different light codes coming in from different star systems. Like, we're all made up of different star systems. And I truly believe that the Jabberwocky has been formulated to block certain receptors in the DNA so that we're not getting those DNA strands online. The whole point of getting those DNA strands online is for us to remember who it is that we are and the powers that we have. Everybody wants to talk about like telepathy and telekinesis and, teleportation and being able to manipulate the weather with our hands and our minds and everything like that. Everybody talks about that like it's so far-fetched. It's not. The reason why we don't have those abilities right now is because we were genetically modified. We are genetically modified beings. And we've had this genetically modified situation happen to us by the evildoers that have been having rulership. Basically, they won a contract eons ago. Their contract is coming to an end, but they definitely did their best to harm the human race and to genetically modify us in a way so that we will never have those DNA strands connected in power, working all together, so that we will never recognize how powerful we actually are. And this Jabberwocky thing has definitely taken a toll on the population. It has definitely influenced those who have taken it, good, bad, or otherwise, in the most negative of ways. There has been an alteration, not only in the biochemistry of the physical form, but in I'm going to call it the spiritual side of each and every single one of us. So again, we have to act as observers. This is how we get through life. We have to act as an observer from our highest form. We have to use our intuition in order to discern the truth, because Lord knows there's nothing on this earth plane, nor has there ever been anything on this earth plane that has been raw, honest, vulnerable, and truthful. We have been lied, deluded, and deceived our whole entire existence. We've been manipulated for our whole entire existence. And that's why intuitive people right now are becoming public enemy number one by the bigger, grander systems and states and governments, because they are ruled by the dark force agenda. And they know that we are waking up, that we are gaining our knowledge, our power back. And that scares the absolute shit out of them. So let's continue to just sock it to them and show them what we're made of. Meaning, let's ruin their CERN experiment by thinking the highest vibration, highest version possible. Let's all fixate on what it is that we want to be living in our own individual lives, what would bring us the most happiness, the most joy, what would be our ultimate new earth goal for the collective. Let's make sure that when those atoms smash together, that what they're deleting is all the fear, all the negativity, all the low vibrational timelines. I truly believe that the light has already won in other dimensions. We're just seeing the fallout. It takes a lot longer to see the manifestation of the wars that have already been won on this physical earth plane. And I think that we are going to see time speed up in a very interesting way because of their dark force agenda trying to pump all of this electromagnetic frequency into our cosmos. So With that being said, you have to be accountable. You have to be responsible for your own energetic frequency, your own vibration. You also have to act as the observer in recognizing how other people are being affected by this particular energy. I want you to pay attention to the weather, which we've been paying attention to anyways, but when they flip this thing on and we have all this electricity going into our atmosphere, we really have to understand that this is altering the organic weather patterns that are few and far between, because as we know, man-made weather is the name of the game these days. But I want you to pay attention to how Mother Earth is going to counteract their false manipulation. Okay, she ain't going to be happy. This is why I say the rise of the dark feminine is totally a thing at this particular point in time, and having her energy and vibration altered by some dark force agenda, mindless humans, not going to be very happy. Okay, Mother Earth, she gonna show this machine who is boss, and we are going to see that through weather patterns. I want you to pay attention to animals as well. Yes, of course, your domestic animals, but pay attention to birds. Pay attention to the sounds that you normally hear that you likely will not hear. Pay attention to weird ass events that are just too weird to say that they're not related to this extreme amount of electricity being pushed into our earth plane. And for those of you who have young kids, those are the anchors and the grid keepers of this earth plane. Not sure if you knew about that or not. The kids that, and I'm going to say generally speaking, ages 10 to 12 and under are already coming into this earth plane, have been born into this earth plane with the higher vibrational DNA codes already intact. Many of my adult clients that have, these types of aged children will say well, how do I protect my kids? You don't have to worry about your kids. You have to worry about you. Okay. Your mission is to understand what the hell is going on and to get control over your own mind space, your own emotions, your own energy, so that you can be the stable, grounded parental figure that you need to be in order to raise these little light beings. Okay. They have a mission. They have a purpose. They're not the ones that are the problem. They're not the ones that need to be helped. It's you, the adult, that needs to be helped. Okay. So don't worry about your kids. Your kids know what's up. They are literally born out of pure love, out of 5D consciousness. Don't worry about them. You worry about being your best version of yourself so that they don't have to take care of you while trying to save the world at the same time, okay? That is our mission as adults right now. We did not get born into this energy. We have to go through the hardships of physically learning how to alchemize this energy. That's why we have the pain and trauma. That's why we have the suffering. That's why we have the ascension symptoms that we do, because our physical bodies, our consciousness that is of lower vibration and frequency is now having to level up at a rate that is just unhuman, to be totally honest with you. We are supernatural beings receiving information to remind us of who it is that we are in an energetic state. And that has a huge physical, let's call it repercussion and consequence on our physical form, on our meat suits. But back to my original thing, pay attention to your kids. They know what's up. If they're having tummy aches, if they're having, bad dreams, if they're telling you that something's wrong, listen to them. They know way more than you will ever know, even if you went die hard in this ascension experience through the existence of your lifetime. They know more than you will ever know. Okay? They've been born into this. Do not question them. They have an energetic barometer in them that is so freaking accurate that if they say that, maybe we should stay home today, maybe you should listen to your kid, because they know what's up. They have premonitory thoughts. They have visions. They have dreams. They have gut. They listen to their intuition. Okay. We need to be listening to the children. They are here to save this planet. And many of the adults are getting in the way of that. Many of the adults are not stepping up to the roles and responsibilities that's written in your soul contract to be the best guardian to this light worker that you could be. So if any of that resonated with you, if any of that rubbed you the wrong way or triggered you in a way that made you feel really bad about your own want, needs, and desires for your healing journey, for your own light mission, I'm sorry. Really, I'm not sorry, but realistically, I have to be the catalyst to open up your eyes to understand that you're not doing your kids any good if you're refusing to do the spiritual work that you need to be doing because you got activated as a light worker. Okay. Many people say, oh, I don't know what my mission is. I don't know what my meaning is. I don't know what my purpose is. And I'll say, do you have kids? And they'll say, yeah. And I'm like, well, you did it. You were the gatekeepers. You brought in, you were the portals to bring in the next wave of volunteers to be the light keepers, the grid keepers, the way showers, the energy workers of the next generation that are here now, anchoring in the light because they were born into the 5D pure consciousness. They know what's up. They're here trying to root this thing in, and we have all these dumbass parental figures just walking around trying to discount their thoughts, their feelings, their mission, their purpose, okay? So if you have kids and you don't know what your mission is, you don't know what your meaning is, you don't know what your purpose is, take a good look at your children. Not only are you meant to be a parent, you're here to be a guardian to these little beings that are here to save the world, okay? I don't even mean that sarcastically. These kids have a huge, huge mission. And it would be an awful thing if y'all went through your life and y'all died and end up back on the other side, returned to source, sitting around that conference table to review your life plan and knew that you were the problem, knew that you were the blockage, knew that you were the one standing in between your child and the mission that they were here to do. Okay, so we all got to boss up. We all got to be better, especially for the kids in the world. Pay attention to your kids this week coming. They are going to be overwhelmed with energies. They can give you a lot of prophecies, of vision, of gut reactions, of intuition that you will never pick up on. Okay, pay attention to your kids. So I know, I'm getting to it. So the ascension symptoms, yes, that plays into it, but we have to understand that high amounts of electricity, whether coming in from the cosmos or whether coming from the earth going out to the cosmos, whether it is manufactured, man-made, or whether it is absolutely pure, raw, authentic, and organic, has repercussions on our physical body. Okay, so first what I want to talk about is electricity. So central nervous system issues, right? We have to understand our sensory system, what we're bringing in as information through our eyes, ears, nose, mouth, touch, okay? We have to understand that we, as human beings, with an electrical system within us, because we are electrical beings, we are the conduits, we are the channels here to alchemize this energy, we are going to feel this through anxiety, through overstimulation, through, when we're talking about the eyes, well, our vision might not be good. It might be blurry. We might be seeing orbs. We might be seeing sparks. We might feel like we're going to pass out. We, might be smelling things that aren't of this world, hearing sounds that aren't of this world. Typically speaking, this is where ear ringings come in because we are receiving a lot of information from other star systems. Again, Sirius, we're aligned with from the 3rd to the 7th while this electrical shit show is going on. We have to expect anxiety, restlessness, impulse, tremors. What happens when a huge volt of electricity comes into the body and the emotions aren't stable? We get anger, we get rage. That's exactly what these evildoers want. That's why we have to have the power and control over our thoughts, over our emotions. It is up to us to stay grounded, to alchemize this energy so that we don't give them the outcome that they want. So with that, we have extreme emotions for many different reasons. We also have Mars stepping out of his place of power in Aries energy. We have Mercury stepping out of his place of power in his energy. We're moving out of Aries and Gemini, respectively, from Mars and Mercury, god of war, ruler of the mental plane. Okay, so we are likely going to be smack dab with a whole bunch of information that has the potential to put us in an absolute shit show of rage. We are still in Cancer season. Cancer season, highly emotional. I want to give you this analogy. Think about yourself standing on the beach. Okay, you got your feet in the sand. And the tide is coming in. You know that feeling when the tide goes out and the sand is kind of being retracted from underneath your feet? You know, it feels kind of weird, and that whole crashing of the waves puts you in a Zen-like state. Feels very euphoric. That's what we're going through right now. So here's the thing. Depending on where it is that you're at in your journey, we have different stages of the tide coming in, right? Waves crashing upon us, overwhelming us with thoughts, energy, memories, intuition, and overly emotional, dramatic states going on in our home, right? Drop me a line. Let me know what happened to you under the new moon in Cancer, affecting the home, affecting the family dynamic, affecting huge amounts of inner child emotion rising to the surface for us to do karmic healing. It has hit everyone in a totally different way. I want to know how it hit you. So we're standing on the beach. Now, many of us are being overwhelmed with the waves coming in, with the waves crashing upon us. That is energy, that is emotion, that is, transformative situations taking place. Others of us are standing on the beach. The tide is now receding. We are feeling that really wonky feeling underneath our feet. We are feeling very euphoric, very spaced out. We are kind of zen-like, but it doesn't really feel good. And as the tide goes out, it is sucking all of the energy out with it. Again, leaving us in a state of pure exhaustion. I want to talk about exhaustion for a second. You ever sleep for 12 hours and wake up like you never even slept a day in your life? Yep, that's what Cancer energy is doing to us right now. Or you could just be totally exhausted to the point where, when you haven't slept for a couple of days, and you're in that really, really weird state where you're like, how am I still going? How am I still functioning? Well, we're in that state as well. And with all this electricity coming in from this CERN experiment, this is going to affect us in different ways. In ways that I want to advise you that it may feel as if this was your first time experiencing Ascension symptoms, which does not feel good, okay? Do not feel like you're reverting. Again, may I remind you, we're in a totally different level of the video game. We have not been this far in the video game of humanism life thus far. And now we have more information than we've ever had because the intuition and the level of consciousness that has truly been unveiled and awakened is just not what they had planned. And that's why I have no fear. That's why I sit back and I watch the circumstances of our daily lives. It's laughable to me because to me, it's all markers. There are different timelines happening all at different times. And when certain things happen on the world stage, to me, it is a marker, a validation point of one timeline over the other. So I want you to pay attention to dizziness, to spaciness. I'm going to call it the snow globe experience. For those of you who've been listening to me for a very long time, you'll know what I mean by snow globe experience. It's essentially when everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden it feels like somebody picked us up, somebody shook us real good, set us down, and the world is on a tilt. The world is just buzzing. The world is just spinning. We don't know what to do. It feels disgusting. Now, let me just remind you, you have the wisdom within you in order to remedy every single Ascension symptom that we experience. If you are dizzy, the world is spinning, you need to ground. If you are weighted, can't move, exhausted, you need to do stuff to raise that vibration and frequency. You have to do the opposite. You have to do the polar opposite of what it is that you're thinking and feeling and experiencing in your physical form in order to alchemize the energy. That's what we're here for. We're electrical conduits, okay? We have to do the work. You can't just cry about it. You can't just complain about it. Also, you can't sit around praying and trying to manifest a vision without doing the absolute physical work necessary in order to actually bring it to life. I have so many people all the time saying, oh, I've been like holding a vision and a dream for 6 months and none of it has happened yet. And I say, well, have you done any work in your physical realm to create the space for it? Well, no, I just thought you had to think positive thoughts and hold the vision. Exactly the reason why I am no longer wanting to do one-on-one sessions. I cannot with some people. And I know it's all a learning experience. I know everyone is just grasping at straws. I know everyone wants better, but honestly, there's very, very few people out there that are actually willing to do the work to actually get this better that they have been trying to hold and manifest in their mind space. So I digressed again, but back to the dizziness, back to the buzzing, back to the spinning, back to the snow globe effect. This is going to feel very euphoric. Again, I've been saying, pay attention to your dreams. We just had Neptune go retrograde. Neptune rules over dreams, daydreams, night dreams, very cryptic, very revealing. But I suspect this week, with all the astrological signs and symbols and validations and markers, with the star system that we're aligned with this CERN experiment, that shit's about to pop off in a very interesting way. The astral realm is going to be alive and well. For those of you who fight wars in your sleep, as I do, things are going to get interesting. We have to understand that what they're doing here on Earth to open up portals affects different realms, and the astral realm is one of them. We are going to see different things take place in our dream state that we are just not used to. It's going to be hard to breathe. It's going to be hard to breathe. Maybe not just normal breathing. Many of us are shallow breathers. If you listen to me, you may wonder if I ever stop to breathe at all. Typically speaking, we have to do better when breath work is concerned. We need deep breathing, okay? But the reason why I say it's going to be hard to breathe, when you try to do that deep breath, that sigh, and it just isn't satisfactory, I feel like that's the energy that we're going to get, mostly because our central nervous systems are popping off because of the electricity coming in from all different avenues this week. But also we're in Cancer season. May I remind you, Cancer season is water. Yes, it's emotional. Yes, it's intuitive. Yes, it's memories, but it's also a body of water. What happens when you're in a pool or in a lake or in the ocean? You feel the pressurized energy on your physical body. It can get hard to breathe. It can feel like there's a weight on your chest. This is also due to the heart activations that we're having. Pay attention to Venus. Venus is in Gemini, which is an air energy, trying to show us our options and where it is we need to open our minds up and adopt new ways, new methods. But she is also checking in with her heart space. And we have a lot of energy, especially as we're building to Leo season, which is the heart and soul of the zodiac. We have a lot of junk to clean out of that heart chakra. And because we have a lot of sensory overload coming at us this week from all different ways, all different methods, we are going to feel that in our chest. I want you to pay attention to the water weight. We talked about this last week, but specifically, want you to pay attention to your fingers. Many of us are getting all swelled up in our fingers, having to take rings off, maybe your watch off. Pay attention to your ankles as well. There's a lot of water weight being stored in those particular areas. And again, not that I want to get into another rant. I kind of went into it a little bit last week, but our palms and soles, like sole of your feet and palms, those are chakras. And we've had the dark force agenda inflict a block, inflict a, let's just call it a genetically modified DNA strand that prevents our palm chakras and our soul chakras and our feet from giving and receiving the electrical frequency coming in from the cosmos and coming in from the earth. That energy is supposed to be able to flow through our physical bodies with no blockage, no issues. It's supposed to be an open channel. That's why we have meridian systems in our bodies. If you haven't dabbled into energy meridians, energy chakras, Chinese healing methods, I mean, that's the meridian system. That's acupuncture, right? Everything is to do with the energetic meridian system in our bodies. And that's why we have ascension systems, because we have blockages from pain, from trauma, from memories, from experiences. There's a lot going on. That's why we have to do the work. And many of us refuse to do the work, and many of us are just sitting around feeling those physical symptoms and being in absolute pain and anguish because of it. Highly, highly recommend being a little bit more aware of the energetic systems in your body so that you can figure out how to make these symptoms not as harsh. So yes, pay attention to what's going on in your fingers, in your ankles, feet problems, hand problems due to that energetic blockage in the palm chakra, in the soul chakra as well. So I want to talk about the mouth here for a second. We're going to have a dry mouth. Now, one would say, well, why are we going to have a dry mouth when we are just overwhelmed with water energies right now? Well, we're about to have a shock. right? The electrical energy that is about to move through our bodies is going to evaporate all of the water. I don't want you to stop drinking. You need to definitely stay hydrated. May I remind you that water is the best, okay? The best electrical conduit that you can get. That's why when there's a lightning storm, you better get your ass out of the lake, out of the ocean, right? Because you're going to get zapped for sure. But we have to understand with the electricity that's being, man-made and organically pushed into our realm, this is bringing a lot of moisture into evaporation. And so we're going to have dry mouth, dry nose. Want you to pay attention to the film in your mouth. Your teeth may be wearing sweaters this week. We have a huge amount of thirst. Please, even if you're not thirsty, force that water into your body, especially like 4th, 5th, 6th, okay? It is very important that we know what they're doing. We know their objective. We know what could possibly happen to us. So now we know what we need to do to have the best result, to have the best outcome. It is up to us to rewrite this narrative, to override their script, their timeline. And it starts with taking care of yourselves first. So we're having a lot of stomach upset, some nausea, of course, with the world spinning and the electrical frequencies coming in. It's hard not to have stomach upset, but a lot of us have had a lot of worry, a lot of fear that we're trying to alchemize with cancer season. It kind of rules over emotions. And as you know, the stomach has more nerves and neurons in it than anything else. So if we're nervous, if we're stressed out, if we're agitated, we're going to feel that in our, let's call it our stomach brain, if you will. And so we are having this stomach upset. And I also want you to pay attention to the fact that there is going to be some lymph node inflammation as well. Lymph nodes, especially under the arms, cancer energy rolls over the breast area. And the lymph node system is, the system in our bodies that basically channel out all the toxicity in our bodies, all the poison. And because, if you're still not fueling your body with the healthiest foods possible, life force energy foods, you're going to have junk in your lymph node system. Your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys, all of those organs are meant to help get this crap out of your body. And if you're going to continue to put this crap in your body, you're going to want to work overtime to make sure that these particular organs are at their prime in order to get this poison out of your body. With the swelling in our bodies, with the electricity going on, I expect lymph node system to be inflamed, to be swollen. It is going to take us a couple of days. Wouldn't surprise me if many of us having this digestive upset is connected to constipation as well. That constipation, when you get backed up, will have a huge effect on your lymph node system as well. So we have to do better, guys. We have to take care of our temple, of our physical body, of the vessel that our soul, our energetic self chose to come into this life form as. This is the warrior. This is our armor. And we have to armor up. We know that there's an attack coming. We know what they're planning. We know what they want for us. And we have to do our best, mind, body, and soul, to armor up in every way possible and to do our absolute best to override this system, override the storyline, and to come out on the other side in new earth. So guys, that's all the information that I have for you this week. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it inspires you. Hopefully it puts you in the right mind frame, in the right energy, the right narrative to go into this battlefield. Again, there's nothing wrong with the warrior spirit. We have to boss up. We have to armor up. We have to do what is right. And what is right is standing in the light. Okay? So we see the darkness. We know we got to counteract it. We got to do the best that we can. And all we can do is hopefully end up smack dab in the middle. Balance is everything. We have to, even out this dualistic, polarized state of life and being. And when there's this much darkness in the world, we have to be that much brighter in order to find common ground. So, of course, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for your love. I want to thank you for your support. And I hope that we all have a very powerful and beautiful week. Sending you nothing but love, and we'll talk to you soon.